Hi, this is Regina Y. Favors coming to you with a rebound relationship series titled Understanding Relationship Failure 10 Reasons. This is going to be a collective lecture, and it is divided into multiple videos. So, you will need to listen to the first part, the second, the third, and so on. So, understanding relationship failure is important because if you don't take the time to self assess what went wrong with the relationship, you are doomed to repeat the same types of mistakes. Understanding relationship failure also points to the fact that most relationships fail oftentimes with our contribution, but it could also be that you just really chose the wrong person, or the person was just not ready to be in relationship, or the person could have chosen you as maybe a fallback plan until they were able to marry someone else. So I want you to take some time to listen to the full series. If you have any questions, please leave a comment and I will respond. Also, take some time to hit the subscription button and then hit the notification bell if you are interested in further videos. Thank you for visiting the channel. This presentation is subject to fair use, where I will be commenting, criticizing, teaching, pursuing scholarship. All right, so this is part 3, what is needed to move forward, the role of self-assessment. Again, part 3 is part of the larger 300 plus presentation, and so it is the end of the presentation. All right, know your worth. This is very important, that to move forward, you need to know your worth. We talk about this a little bit in the previous audio, that people may not perceive you as a 9-10, but that doesn't matter whether they perceive you as a 9-10. It only matters that you perceive yourself. So if your male partner or female partner, for some men listening, wants a high value partner who is socially perceived as 9-10, stay off that territory. Their perception means for you that you are not a 9-10 in their eyes. And what oftentimes we do, we try to change the minds of people. I really am a 9-10. See, look. So people will often go and do things to their bodies. They change the whole facial composition. They change their whole body composition instead of actually working on your mind and your heart and your psychology and your economy. That they'll spend all of that money trying to look like something that another person wants, and that person won't still marry them. This does not mean that you are not beautiful in your own right or a 9-10 in your perception. What this means is that our society connects physical attractiveness with some form of upward mobility. It is almost satiric. All the pretty people are with each other and are thriving, and all the non-pretty people must stay down and on their own levels. So I would stay off that territory. There are certain women that can operate on that territory with sort of high status men, whether they are ballers or business CEOs or whatever. You try to get on that territory and you're not equipped for that. You don't think like that. You almost have to be ruthless, to operate on certain territories. I like to read law books. I like to read contracts. I did a lot of the stuff that I do for, actually I did everything. But I understand that I don't want to argue a case. I don't care to be a litigator. So therefore, I don't need to go to law school, right? Doesn't mean I shouldn't take up a master's of legal studies or something like that, where I don't necessarily have to argue a case. But law schools train people to litigate. And so that's a different territory from what I want to do with what I'm doing. So that 9-10 rating, that's a category. That's a category. It's a territory as well. So I would just reconsider, because if you feel like you got to become something else, then there's something wrong with how you perceive your worth. Know your vision. So when you know the vision you have for your life, you are unlikely to allow someone to disrupt and distract. If you do not know the vision you have for your life, then this is something you should accomplish before considering a long-term partner. Your vision is your purpose for living and navigating this life. Therefore, you have to ask yourself if a long-term or short-term mating strategy will hinder you from accomplishing your purpose. So if you don't want commitment right now, you still have to sort of gauge whether getting into a short-term mating strategy is workable for you. You know, once you begin to find your purpose and you begin to think about these things, and you think about the legacy you want to live, you are less likely to engage in a lot of distractions. It's only when you don't know who you are, or what you haven't discovered your purpose or your vision for yourself, that is easier to bring in hindrances and disruptions and distractions. That's what happened with me early. I didn't know I was going to become a teacher, for one. And I definitely did not know I was going to write a book or do this series or anything like that. All that stuff happened right here in my 40s. In my 20s, I got distracted. I was a people pleaser. I got with the wrong people. And so there was opportunity to know the vision and the purpose for my life, but I just kept bringing in disruptions and distractions. Now that I know the vision for my life, no one has my telephone number. You don't need to know where I live, because I'm trying to accomplish something, and I don't want to wait and procrastinate so long to the point that I'm at an age or at a mindset that I don't want to do it anymore. And that's why I encourage you to listen to reason number 9, procrastination, because it is arguably the longest, but it gets you to see how we oftentimes procrastinate the learning process and our own progress as well. So know your vision. Know your finances. You must be financially stable. When you are not financially stable, it makes it easier to engage in emotionally disruptive relationships. So that means you need to look at, where do you have a savings investment plan, pay off debt. You should not think about a relationship when you are in thousands and thousands and thousands of debt. If you have bad credit, going into a relationship is not going to solve that personal problem that you have. You still got to resolve it. And most men tend to be a lot better at money. They don't have a whole bunch of credit cards and things like that. They like to pay everything in cash. And if you are bad with money and you need credit cards and you like to be in debt, that's going to be a problem in the relationship, right? Purchase life insurance. Plan for the little transitions and setbacks. That's something that I struggled with. Beginning at April 2013 is when I established my 7-year plan. That is the first time I established a 7-year plan, but that was due to the fact that I was homeless and I was coming out of that situation, and I said, I just cannot do this anymore. What is going to be my plan? And so I knew that anything of worth is going to take time. And I knew that 7 in the Bible is the number for completion. So I said, I'm going to establish a 7-year plan. And the goal was to change my economy. That I was in student loan debt, of course. I was I didn't have a lot of credit card debt, but I did have something. But I didn't have my own place. I wasn't sure if I was... I can get back into teaching. I was able to in 2013, but I was below the poverty line. If you are living in a shelter, or even living on your friend's couch, you are homeless. I don't care if that person has a nice house or whatever. I don't care. If you are living with family, that's homeless. So I knew that if I was going to change my economy status, my financial status, that I needed a plan, and I knew that I needed to develop products and services in order to accomplish that, and I knew I needed to get back into the job field, which I was able to do. And the lack of planning and planning for transitioning and setbacks and things like that just really has its root. And when I first graduated from high school, when I graduated from college, I could hold down a job, finish school or whatever, but I did not plan for the exit. That I knew eventually I was going to, leave high school, but I was thinking that the job I was on was going to keep me on. So I didn't have another plan. I knew I was going to, graduate from college. Of course, I cannot be a, perpetual student without some kind of goal in mind to like apply knowledge. But I didn't plan for that transition. So that lack of planning for transitions and then getting into setback has sort of followed me for a while. And in April 2013 is when I changed my trajectory, I guess, if that's the word, where I changed my path. It's time to get back on a path that is focused with stability and direction. Grow in your career. So, if you are still making $25,000 a year after 10, 15 years in that career, something is going on. You're not growing. You should be advancing. I'm not saying they're going to jump from $25,000 to $50,000. I'm not saying that, but you should be advancing. That you should be able to look at your past income checks or whatever and look at the difference. I knew the difference from when I started back working, what I made, and then the full year of being on that job, what I made, and then going forward, what I'm making now. Create a side hustle or turn that hobby into a second income. So in 2013, I went back to work. I was able to get back on with teaching. And I still established a 7-year plan, but it was in 2014 that I got the idea for Rebound Girl. And that was as a result of breaking up with my ex and saying to myself, I got to figure out what's going on with me because I keep choosing the exact same type of person. And you choosing that same type of person, same situation will affect your finances, because he was able to save money, but I didn't. Because I'm so preoccupied with him and helping him that I'm not covering myself. And I learned that, and I said I need to come up with something. So I began to journal just a lengthy paragraph about the activities in that relationship. And then I printed it out and looked at it, and I said, this looks like the beginnings of a book or something. And so I'm good at sort of looking at something and interpreting it something and saying there's value there. So I separated the paragraph, and I separated that long paragraph into many paragraphs or sentences, and I said, this looks like maybe chapters. And so I started to place that content in different areas in my Microsoft Word. And then I started to, fill out the content. And then after that, I researched rebound relationships in the scholarship literature, right? And then it took me in, different directions. And then I wrote that book. And I finished it somewhere in 2015. And then I wrote all the other books. And everything was completed by a little before 2016. And so now that hobby of writing, and then of course my gift and talent for teaching, is now going to turn into a second income. Now I am more concerned about covering myself instead of covering everybody else, and it's now going to help me with my finances, change my economy, etc. You cannot compete with the baby. So I'm going to develop the audio I already have it worked out. I just need to do the audio aspect of it. But you will hear under the Confessions of a Rebound Girl, You Cannot Compete with the Baby audio. You will hear that the baby is not the physical baby. The baby is the woman. Remember when I talked about duty in the previous audio about part of identity? When a man feels a duty to a woman, whatever her value is to him, you cannot compete with that duty. He will do whatever necessary to ensure that he fulfills that duty. So the girl did not want him back, right? But when she called and when she used the word or she had the statement, you owe me a duty, he ran. So it doesn't matter if they were never going to get back together, and they are not back together now. It doesn't matter. It's the fact that he believed he had a duty to her over me. And so therefore, you can't compete with that. We're still trying to compete with the woman. The woman, I mean, like if they had a baby for real or something like that, we think we are competing with the woman in terms of how she looks or whatever. The woman really is like, the baby for her, for them, right? But you will hear that the baby is not the physical baby. The baby is the woman. He can marry you and still put money into her household. Therefore, if you want to marry him, then understand the consequence. So if you stay with him, she's going to always push that duty argument. And even if she's not interested in being in relationship with him. So now you know then that he's not with you. Even if he is physically with you, he is not really with you. So if you have chosen a partner who later married someone else and this affected you emotionally and psychologically because you believe you two would get married, well, this is not the first time this has happened to you. It is likely that a previous partner did the same thing. Therefore, reflect and assess on your past relationships to determine if there is a pattern. Like I said, the last guy was an amalgam, a blend of all of the different relationships, romantic, family, friendships, that I kept picking the same type of people. There was a pattern. And so now, right now, all I care about is teaching my composition students, doing these audios, creating the school, and I just want to kind of be in solitude so I can really continue to learn to reflect and assess. Sometimes it is okay. It's very much okay to be in solitude so you can understand yourself, because if you don't, the next relationship could be the death of you. That you could pick the person one more time, and that one more time takes you out. And so sometimes, and that could be in, physical death, mental health, mental health, financial death, just a number of ways that a person can take you out. Aspects of change in this context will be to discuss your feelings, talk about yourself, the self that you have put into multiple contexts, and reach towards growth. Be committed to you and your well-being. So the family dynamic that I had and the strained environment, hostile environment it was, I picked those same people in friendships when I was in San Diego. They looked exactly the same, like my mother, like my brothers, like anybody. They look exactly the same, cousins, everything. And so I don't knock anybody. I'm not here to disparage anybody, but I realized I was picking the type of people who rejected me, who socially isolated me, who mocked and were sarcastic with me, who just actually treated me like a rebound. And it was through this process that I realized, and it wasn't truly in the writing of the books. I think it was after developing these audios and developing when they marry someone else, that it really came to me that I've actually been a rebound really all my life, even from childhood. And so now I want to change my station, and I have I have adopted another plan. It is going to be 10-year plan, and that's going to be still in line with everything I'm doing now, but changing my economy even more. But I definitely want to get to a place where I have good psychological well-being. Move forward. You cannot stay in the muck and mire of emotions and distraught if a partner decides to marry someone else. Even if you invested in a relationship, your mind, body, heart, soul, and finances, you have to let the relationship you had with the person die, but you do not have to die. If you continue to ruminate over a relationship of which you are no longer a member, you will die every day, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, until you physically die inevitably. Fight for your heart, your mind, your soul, and your own beauty, no longer for validation. So the longer you stay in those relationships where you are being rejected and the person is no longer considering you as an investment, right? You are still looking for validation. You still, if the person can just see that I care about him or see that I care about her, maybe they would change their mind about me. But the very fact that they decided to marry someone else did not really begin with the ending of your relationship. They believe that's somewhere else a long time ago. I don't know if they entered a relationship and decided to use you as a rebound. I don't know. I don't know if they were already committed to somebody, right? But they believed that you were not the marrying kind for them a long time ago. So you're going to have to make up in your mind that you cannot seek validation for them. Validation should come from you having good command over your finances. Validation should come from you pursuing psychological well-being. Validation should come from you pursuing good health and fitness. Validation should come from you pursuing good finances in other areas or whatever. Validation should definitely come from you saying the word no. And not with conditions, not with explanation, just the word no. It took me a while to get to the word no. I knew somewhere in my 20s I was going to have to work out my no. But I would add conditions, I would add explanation because I still didn't want to hurt the person's feelings. In my 40s, I have no problem saying no. And that's no, the word no, N-O, and I don't add anything else to that. Doesn't mean that I don't consider situations in my heart and in my mind apart from the person, but I pray about it. I make sure I'm making the right decision because you don't want to treat everybody the same. But I have learned now in my 40s, and it should have taken much earlier than that, but I don't like to do a whole bunch of regretting. But I should have learned that much earlier. I get it now, and so now I make sure that if it is a no answer, it is a true no answer without any explanation. All right, so conclusion. So on self-preservation, here's a personal tip. All right, so I talk about this in another audio. You cannot accomplish anything on your back and knees. One aspect of the desire to meet a partner's needs is to do everything to retain the partner. This might include using cost-inflicting behaviors such as jealousy and manipulation. It will definitely include using benefit provisioning behaviors such as aid, finances, sexual variety. Nothing will keep a man if he wants to leave. And this is something that you're going to have to make peace with. That there are certain things that are just, I don't care what that man tells you. I told you in my previous relationship, he tried to pawn the relationship. And so when I realized that it was not moving forward after cheating and things like that, I said, I'm going to have to make peace with this idea that he wants to leave. That sure, he is here with me physically, but he keeps leaving to go have sex with her, or he keeps leaving, playing around on playing around with other women or whatever. And he keeps leaving because he's just simply not the marrying kind. And so nothing will keep him if he wants to leave. All right, so hopefully you were able to gain insight from this video discussion. Please like, subscribe, and visit. So please like the video, hit the notification bell for more discussions. I am re-uploading all of my audios, so I needed to make some changes to them. You can visit my website for more content at reginayfavors.com. If you want to send me an email, you can send an email reginayfavors@yahoo.com. Please also purchase the book. It's going to come out in spring 2021. So I had to make changes to my book to update it, and I also updated the title. So the original title was Bait, Hook, and Switch: Confessions of a Rebound Girl, and I have updated the title to Toxic Encounters: Why People Pursue Rebound Relationships. So right now I'm still basically editing it, and I want to make it available in spring 2021. So thank you very much for visiting my channel, and I am Regina Y. Favors. Have a great day.